Hello, and welcome to show number 2429 of Eyes on Success, a weekly program covering a wide variety of topics of interest to people with vision loss. I'm Nancy Goodman Torpey.
And I'm Pete Torpey. Even if your pharmacist isn't aware of the fact that you can get your prescription labels in spoken format, braille, or large print, you should know about it and ask the pharmacist yourself.
You have every right to have your prescription information in an understandable format. So talk to them, if you're outspoken, go for it. If you're not as outspoken and you're a little shyer, call us. We'll talk to them for you. We're here to help however we can.
And if you haven't been aware of this free service to deal with your prescriptions, today's episode is the one you should listen to.
If you have trouble reading prescription labels, you should know that Envision America partners with many pharmacies to provide talking prescription labels as well as labels in braille or large print at no additional cost to you. We'll talk with Jenna Reed, Marketing Director at Envision America, about the service and how it works. But first, our tip of the week. This week's tip comes from Jenna Reed.
So many things in this world are out of our control. Are we going to get sick? Are we going to go in the hospital? The different diseases that we have. This is something we can control, guys. This is a safety measure that allows us to take medications the right way, at the right time, in the right dosage, and understand all of the warnings. To me, this is just a very easy tip. This is something that can be received for free. It costs nothing. It serves as a backup. It encourages independence and safety. You don't have to rely on anybody to read prescription labels out loud. This is something well within your reach that you can use to make your life just a little easier and a little safer.
Support for Eyes on Success is provided by
ListenLater.net, an online service that transforms articles, documents, and blog posts into podcast episodes using AI with human-like narration. These episodes are accessible in any podcast app. More information is at listenlater.net.
You are listening to Eyes on Success. Success, 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 success.
Let's start by meeting Jenna.
We had today's guest on the show with us several years ago, but a lot has been going on with her company since then, so we figured we'd update our listeners as to what's going on. So Jenna, maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm Jenna Reed. I'm the marketing director over here at Envision America. We are based on the west coast of Florida, so the Gulf Coast, so we're a little spoiled down here. But we have more than 25-year history in the visually impaired community, offering products and services. And I was fortunate enough to have jumped ship from the editorial and writing world and loved helping people, and jumped right into a position down here from the Washington, D.C. area. And I've loved it so much. I've been here still 5 years later.
Most of your customers and most of our listeners have visual impairments. Do you?
I do not.
How did you get into working on products for the blind?
What I love about it is there's no cost involved at all for the patients, for the Script Talk station reader, and for our services on the accessible labels. So to me, it's a really easy sell. I love helping people. And when David Raystrick, our founder, talked to me a little bit about the product, who wouldn't want to market something that helps people and that can help save lives?
That's great when you can feel good about what you're doing and the service you're providing to people.
Yes, most definitely. I've heard all kinds of stories over the years where people were putting different medications in different drawers of like a toolbox and memorizing what's in each drawer. Some people have used rubber bands, all kinds of things. But this is something that's free. You get it for free. You don't have to use it every day if you don't want to, but it's there if you feel like you need it or as a backup. And there's never any confusion. Whenever you use Script Talk, you're going to know what's in that medication bottle and how to take it safely.
Well, that's a great service.
Eyes on Success connects corporate sponsors with visually impaired listeners around the world.
More information about becoming a sponsor can be found at www.sponsor.eyesonsuccess.net.
This week's focus topic is the suite of products offered by Envision America to help you keep track of your prescription medications.
Well, Jenna, in the introduction, we talked a little bit about Script Talk and kind of quickly went through some of the services that you provide, but let's get into some more of the details and give people an overview of the services and resources that Envision America offers.
Sure. So our flagship is Script Talk, talking prescription labels. These are free at thousands of pharmacies. A lot of you guys might know what it is. If not, it's a little electronic tag they're going to put on the bottom of your bottle. And you just use either an app, which is free, or the Script Talk Station Reader, which is also free on loan. And it's going to read all that label information out loud. Now, that is our flagship. And in addition to that, we've expanded into multiple languages now. We offer dual language and translation. What that means is that you can now also get a Script Talk station or your Audible labels translated. Now, what does that mean? That means you have to go to a pharmacy, a participating pharmacy that does do the translation in their system. And that's not everybody, but we can help you find one that does. So say you have a friend or family member that speaks Spanish, you can now get a Script Talk station in Spanish.
How many languages is Script Talk available in?
25. 26 if you include English.
Wow.
When we talked with Envision America the first time in 2013 or so, some of this was really new. And I remember you sent me a demo unit. It was your Script Talk talking station.
Mm-hmm.
But these days, there are other options. I've since started using the Script Talk app on my phone, and I found that to be really convenient when I get a prescription. Can you tell people a little bit about that app and how it works?
Of course. So that came out of, obviously, some time after we did the stations. A lot of tech-savvy people enjoy it and love using it. And the good thing is you don't have to worry about toting something extra along with you. So if you're on the road, we've all got our cell phones. We love them. It's like another appendage nowadays. So the app was something we created a few years ago. It came out for Android, and then it came out for the iPhones or iOS. And it's really fun and easy to use. So basically, it works just like the Script Talk station, but it's got a few additional perks or features. The cool thing about the app is that it has 2 scan features. So you can either hear just the name and the medication out loud, or you can hear that full list of information that includes the warnings and all the extra information.
And that's really handy to parse it out that way. So if I'm getting a new prescription for the first time, I'll often do the full scan and it will tell me about the prescription, what it is, how to take it, but then its side effects, and it reads essentially everything that's in the insert that you get with a prescription. But once I know what my prescription is, it's a lot easier to do the quick scan. You just hold your prescription up to the front of the phone and it tells you that's what this prescription is. It's nice and quick.
Mm-hmm.
What are the differences between using the app on the iPhone versus an Android smartphone?
If you have an iPhone, it's the top of the front of your phone. If you have an Android, which I know a lot of folks out there have the iPhones, but I have an Android. If you have an Android, it's the back of the phone and it's going to be right near the camera. So it's right in the middle of the phone is where you're going to touch that label to.
Oh, that's good to know. And as you say, it's nice and handy. You don't have to carry around an extra device. It's right there on your phone. You could use it anytime you want. But for people who do not have smartphones or are perhaps a little less tech savvy, you do offer the hardware device.
Correct. The cool thing about the phone, too, that I might add, is if you use the full scan feature, which is going to read all that information, if you look down at the bottom, There's also a medication information, and it's going to keep a list of all of the medications that you've full scanned. So the cool thing about that is when you go to your doctor or you go to a medical professional and they're asking you what you're on, I can't pronounce some of the names of what I'm on. So I just open this up, click to this, and I hand it over to them and let them look. And they've got a full list of all the medications you're taking with no issues.
Oh, that's great. So it's handy even for sighted people.
It is, definitely.
So that raises an interesting question because, so I'm fully sighted. I don't actually use the script talk, but Pete's totally blind and he's been using it for years at this point. Once Kaiser Permanente started including it as an option. And so all of his prescriptions would have been read by the script talk, but like the calcium pills and the daily multivitamin, stuff like that over the counter, they do not have the little tags on the bottom, so they would not be on the list. Is it possible to add additional medications that you're taking to this list so that when you do show it to your provider, they have your complete list, not just the prescriptions?
Really, really good point. So unfortunately, there is not a way that I'm aware of. But what you could do is if you make friends with your pharmacist, you might be able to convince them to go ahead and put a script talk tag on, your calcium pills or your over-the-counter vitamins and things like that. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. It's just how busy they are and if they take the time. I mean, what we do is designed for prescription medications. But if they are so willing, they could do it for your other medications or your over-the-counter medications as well.
So Script Talk has the capability, you just need a pharmacist to cooperate and participate in the process.
Correct. So what we do is it's a very simple software system. And what it does is it gives your name, your information, the fields, and that's what they use to program that label. And a lot of them are even going to use like the Script Talk station. I've got it in my hand here. Some of the mom and pop shops or the independent pharmacies, this is what they actually use to program that label for you. So they can do it right there at the pharmacy counter.
So we talked about the Script Talk app on the smartphones and how easy that is to use. You don't really have to be tech savvy to use it. But if you don't have a smartphone or you prefer hardware, you do offer the free hardware device. Tell us how that works.
So basically, when you sign up for Script Talk at a participating pharmacy, they're going to give us your information. Now, we don't have any access to your prescription information, just your name and your address. We're going to call you and we're going to ask you, would you like the app or would you like the station? If you would like the station, we provide it to you free on loan for however long you need it. We'll ship it out to you, and then we just touch base with you to make sure that the pharmacist is getting those labels on successfully. The station itself works very similar to the app. I liken it to an old school CD player, Walkman, in size. It's got a little wheel you spin to turn it on, and it's got 3 simple buttons. And you hit the read button once you put that label down, and then you can jump back and forth through the next and previous buttons to hear all the information out loud.
So it's pretty easy also.
Yes, very intuitive. And if you have any issues, we're standing by. We've got an awesome patient care team that's here to help every business day.
Now, when we first talked with Envision America years ago, it was a pretty new service, and it was just being taken up by different pharmacies and organizations. And you've expanded that quite a bit over the years. Can you tell us where it's available and some of the new places it might be available?
Correct. Yeah, sure. We're growing into hospital systems now. For pharmacy chains, we've got Walmart. You can go into any Walmart and request it. That's been around for a little while. I think they went official in 2019 at all Walmarts. Sam's Clubs, Costco, Publix, Wegmans, Meijer, a lot of the Albertsons. I'm trying to think what else comes to mind. The Rite Aids, I think I might have said. Mail orders, most of the mail orders do it as well. Some of the university hospital systems are also getting on board. So, every time I turn around, we have we have new partners that are signing up. So it's really exciting. I mean, anything we can do to make this more accessible for you guys and get it into your hands, we love doing it, and we love striking these new partnerships.
And I'd just like to add, Jenna, you just went through a very long list of a whole lot of very large pharmacy companies, but you missed at least ours, which is Kaiser Permanente. And I assume that means if there's anybody out there listening and they go to a different pharmacy than the ones you listed, it's still worth it for them to ask because they might have the script talk system in place as well.
Most definitely. We have so many partners. I don't have them all memorized. I wish I did. What I can also say is definitely Kaiser is one of our huge partners, which we're excited about. Call us and we will talk to your pharmacy if they're not offering it. Sometimes these big locations don't realize that they offer it. For example, Walmart, you have to ask for it. And sometimes the Walmarts are so big that they don't recognize that all they have to do is put in a request and they'll get set up with it. So we can work behind the scenes to make sure you're taken care of.
Yeah, sometimes not all of the individuals or individual pharmacies are aware of the service. I found out about it through the Kaiser app, through which I do a lot of my medical care, scheduling, and also ordering drugs. And in the ordering process for ordering prescriptions, there was a little note about if you would like accessible drugs sent to you with labels, just click here. So it was very easy in Kaiser, but again, it's not as obvious some places.
Is Script Talk available anywhere besides the United States?
Yeah. One thing I should note is if we have any Canadian listeners, also these brands now offer Script Talk as well. So that's nice. They can get it over the retail counter. So that's well over, I think, 100 locations if memory serves.
The other thing you've mentioned a number of times is that this service is free. The pharmacist will put these tags on your prescriptions that you can hold next to either the hardware device or your smartphone to know what the prescription is. How is this all funded? Where does the money come from for this?
So we work with pharmacies. They do purchase the labels. So they're purchasing those Script Talk labels from us as well as the software. So it's not an expensive process at all. It's not an expensive system, but that is how our company makes our money. So they're the ones that are funding this for you.
And that's a great model. That happens more and more these days. Venues are making their venues more accessible with certain applications and partnering with certain blindness organizations to make their venues more accessible. And this is a very similar thing. It's like putting in ramps to make their service more accessible to people with wheelchairs.
It's exactly the same thing. This is accommodation that these pharmacies really should provide. I know they've got the U.S. Access Board has recommended guidelines now since I think 2012. So, this is something that we're working on. We're constantly educating the pharmacists about it. But as you said, just like putting in a ramp, offer these labels and give them in a way that everyone can access them. I mean, you guys have the right to hear this information and understand it just like a sighted person. It's not fair otherwise. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
And sort of the biggest thing here is awareness to know that these services are available and that if your pharmacist doesn't know about it, people can contact you to connect with the pharmacist and perhaps make this all work.
Most definitely. When in doubt, always call us. We will educate the pharmacists. We can send you rack cards. We love patients that get really enthusiastic and excited, and they'll share it with their friends. They'll do events to spread the word. We don't spend a lot of money on advertising, but we very much care, and we're looking for new avenues just to get this into the hands of the folks that need it.
So again, even if your pharmacist isn't aware of the fact that you can get your prescription labels in spoken format, braille, or large print, you should know about it and ask the pharmacist yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Call us. We can, if you know what you want and you go up to them, you have every right to have your prescription information in an understandable format. So talk to them, if you're outspoken, go for it. If you're not as outspoken and you're a little shyer, call us. We'll talk to them for you. We're here to help however we can.
What other services does your organization offer that we might not be aware of? I know years ago you had like barcode readers that were hardware devices people could use, but a lot of that's done by smartphone these days. I'm wondering if you still do some of that or offer other services, or you've just focused on the medication and prescription market.
That is a really great question. Yeah, we used to offer the ID Mate. I think our latest one was the ID Mate Galaxy. Unfortunately, around the time that COVID hit, we had to do some deep thinking, and we would have had to do a rebuild of it to bring more quantities in-house. And when we went to price it, it just didn't make sense. We were unable to get what we needed, so that had to be discontinued. But we still love it. We're still doing the database updates for all those patients that get it. As you said, it is available in a lot of smartphones that you can get the apps. So it was something that was really hard for us to do, but we felt the need. So now our primary focus is on the accessible labels. I talked about the dual language translation. We also do braille. That's available through a lot of the mail orders. We do large print. If you do have some usable vision, that's always an option. We also offer controlled substance safety labels. So if you're taking a stronger medication, a controlled substance 2, a Schedule 2 or Schedule 3, 4, 5, we now have created these special videos that drive home instructions, warnings, take with food, all that kind of stuff that is attached on the label right on that bottle, so you can scan it with your QR code. So it helps to kind of peace of mind. Some of these are scary. We are all hearing about the opioid crisis and everything else. So if you are given this, you can just double check that you're taking it how you should.
Oh, that's great. That's a real safety feature, being able to understand and refresh your memory about what the important parameters are, that how you take it, when you take it, and what to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot of fun. We made all the videos in-house, so.
Great. Well, what a great service. And as I said, it's been very useful to me over the years. I really like being able to get a prescription in the mail and just sort out what it is myself without asking anybody. Or even sometimes if a new prescription comes in and I ask Nancy to read it for me and I put it someplace, when I'm ready to use it, I'm not sure, was that the one I asked her about or not? So it's very easy to just pick up my phone and know exactly what I'm taking.
And the cool thing is say you are tech savvy, say you love your cell phone and you're happy to use it. Now you want a Script Talk station as a backup? We'll do that for you. You can have the both. We don't care. We just want you to be safe. So you choose whatever works best for you.
And, Pete's been blind for a really long time at this point, and we've been together for 40 years, and I've seen pill bottles and eye drop bottles all over the house. This one's in this drawer, in this corner, and that one has a rubber band. And even with the Script Talk, where he can get all the detailed information, he still has the one with the rubber band, still has a rubber band. It's still in its spot, and that spot only changes when we move.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
But you can use all of the mechanisms you have, and he uses a combination.
Old habits die hard, and do what's comfortable with you. The key is where Script Talk comes in, is if you want to double check. I will walk into a room sometimes and forget why I walked in here. So if I'm picking up a prescription and I'm in doubt, if you're picking it out of the drawer, check it. And maybe you have, a spouse or a sister or mother who helps you with their medications most of the time. What if they go on a trip? What if they get sick and have a brief stay in the hospital? This is a backup. It's here to help you if and when you need it.
Well, what a great service. And I'm glad to hear that you're continuing this service and it's continuing to grow. So people ought to ask their pharmacist if they're not sure, make sure they get what they're wanting.
Definitely. The one thing I would encourage too is if you're not sure if there is a pharmacy around you that offers it, you can go to our webpage, which is envisionamerica.com, ENVISION, America.com. Scroll to the bottom of that page and there's a zip code lookup. So if you enter your zip code, it's going to tell you all the pharmacies right around you. I think you can change the radius from like 5, 10, 20 miles, 25 miles, whatever, to find Who around you offers this? And again, if you're not seeing anybody or you're not sure where you want to go, call us.
You are listening to Eyes on Success. Success, 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 success.
Now for this week's final item, how to learn more about Script Talk and other products from Envision America and how to contact them.
Jenna, if people had questions and wanted to get in touch with Envision America about connecting their pharmacists with this service, where would they go?
Excellent question. So we have a wonderful patient care team. They're available from 8 to 5 o'clock Eastern each business day. Call 1-800-890-1180, or they can email patientcare@envisionamerica.com. If you want to talk to me, you can also reach me directly. It's Jenna, so J-R-E-E-D @envisionamerica.com. I'm always happy to help as well. If I don't have the answer or I can't give you what you need, I will get the answer for you.
Do you have a social media presence?
Well, definitely. That's a great question. We are on Facebook, Envision America. We're on Twitter. Yes, I'm stubborn. I know he likes to call it X now, but I still say Twitter. I'm mean. We're on Twitter. We are on LinkedIn as well. We're growing. We're even on TikTok now. We've been putting up some videos on TikTok, so look for Envision America on there. We're on YouTube. We're constantly creating new videos. If you just want to see how Script Talk works, we have a video up that explains exactly how it works. One for the actual station and one for the app.
And of course, if you missed any of that contact information in the audio, you can always click on the show notes for this episode, which is episode 2429, and get all of that information in text format.
That's it for today's show. Next week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking about how you can enhance your experience of watching sporting events. If you can't see what's happening on the field, it's difficult to fully enjoy live sports, even if it's being announced well. But there might be another way. We'll talk with Jared Mace, CEO and co-founder of OneCourt, about how their unique technology enables blind users to enjoy watching live sports with the addition of a tactile display.
Thanks for joining us this week, and we hope you'll catch us next week to learn about that interesting technology for listening to sports.
You've been listening to Eyes on Success, hosted and produced by Nancy Goodman-Torpey and Peter Torpey.
You can access the full archive of previous shows, subscribe to the podcast, and much more by going to our website, www.eyesonsuccess.net. If you have questions about anything you've heard on the show or have suggestions for future shows, send an email to hosts@eyesonsuccess.net.
Thank you for listening and have a nice day.